The harsh reality is that finance became a big issue.
We're working more, sleeping less, earning less, but we are free.
One of the best things in life you will learn is not being scared to ask for help.
Never been filmed before.
That's what she said.
Not to me.
Hi everyone, welcome to the TED Talks. This is the podcast where we're talking about creative and digital businesses, entrepreneurship, and different topics from our life. My name is Ed. This is Tommy.
Hello.
And today we're going to speak about a very interesting topic. It is, what is better, the freelance work or full-time job? We're going to speak about the benefits of either of it and something else. What do you think?
Yeah, we have you said special guest in the intro that we just cut out. We have a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, Tom?
I think it's probably worth saying we're quite close friends. I mean, the idea that I'm a special guest, I think you just wrote me into this at the last minute.
I'd say we're friends.
All right, okay. That's how you must start. Great. Hi, I'm Dominick McOmish. I work for the marketing department in the research and enterprise department at University of Lincoln. And I've been there for about 11 months now. I think I've known Tommy for about 9 months and Ed about 10. I think we met just before, didn't we?
Yeah, so that's what I said last time, right? And then he roasted me because he was like, I think it's like 6 months. And I said it was a year.
Because I've been at uni, it's coming up on a year.
He only worked in university for 11 months. How it can be a year?
Yeah, but you...
I get in here after he start work here. So how is that possible?
Well, because I met you my second month here.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. And then I think
I met him like the same time, didn't I?
Yeah.
6 months. I'm still saying 6 months.
No, I think it's 2 years.
It's at least 8 months, I would say, because we met at events and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself and your working background.
What would you like to know?
Everything.
Everything.
So what did you do after uni?
Do you want to know what I did at uni?
No, just after.
I graduated from Newcastle. I did undergrad in Aberystwyth in an English and creative writing degree. And then I did a master's at Newcastle in PR and media comms when I sort of focused on social media and crisis management in PR really. So I've just got cramp in my leg.
Use some of your skills in crisis management and get over to the situation and
Breaking
start over
news.
again because it's
The best topic you can do is just, sorry, I can't help it.
Do you remember when we didn't have any guests last time and no one
It
got
was
cramp?
great. Yeah, no one was complaining. It wasn't hot even here.
No, So I have a bit of an announcement to make. I forgot to bring a portable aircon unit today, so
People don't have to know it broke.
it's hot.
Come on.
Realistically, this is all going to be cut out and we're going to go again. So should we just go again?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Dominic, tell about your background. What is your current role in the University of Lincoln? What you're doing there and what you was doing before that?
So my current role is Marketing and Events Officer at the University of Lincoln's Research and Enterprise Department. I've been there for just coming up on a year. In fact, it'll be a year in September. So a large part of what we do is just promoting Sparkhouse and research and enterprise as a whole. Prior to that, I was a freelancer working in copywriting, social. Then I worked in certain projects about brand management, brand vision, brand values, writing sort of those sort of
Can
documents.
you describe for our viewers what is Sparkhouse?
Sparkhouse.
Give us a little context.
Sparkhouse is an incubation unit for startups based in Lincolnshire at the University of Lincoln. We're here to provide support to young businesses, whether it be through mentoring, support, sort of anything that a business would need to sort of get its feet off the ground and get going. We tend to offer it.
Edgar described it last time as a kindergarten for businesses.
I quite like that. I watched that and I thought that was actually quite a nice way to put
Cute,
it.
yeah.
So the idea of Sparkhouse is we have sort of a 3-year sort of shelf life, and then we move you on to enterprise, which is the other side of the building, and then eventually to Think Tank, which is our other facility on the other end of the Brayford campus.
Yeah, but the electricity's not included there, so I'm staying. Solar powered here.
Good. We're pleased to keep you.
It's clean for the environment, so...
Well, Sparkhouse is eco-friendly. We've got solar panels on the roof. It was designed that way.
Yeah.
20 years ago. It's our anniversary this year, 20th anniversary.
Happy anniversary, bro.
Yeah, thank you. It's great. Really pleased.
So the freelance work then, before you started working at the uni, what were you doing? How long were you doing that for?
Basically, I graduated from uni and started applying for jobs and just couldn't get one. Sometimes
It's not surprising.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. But it's that weird thing where you go to uni and you spend the whole time being like, this is a great course to do. You'll walk into any PR job you want. I remember being sat in a seminar in Newcastle and the person taking it said, this is just the best course in the country for what you want to do. After you graduate, you'll walk into any PR job you want. And I was sat thinking, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to hear. And then I graduated, and after 6 months, I'd applied to hundreds of jobs and got maybe 10 interviews. One of which was at the University of Lincoln in the HR department. I remember being sat in it, and the first question they asked me was, why do you want the job? And I genuinely didn't have an answer. And I remember sort of having to say, it's the most embarrassing thing looking back at it. I remember sort of saying, can we come back to that one? And at that point, I should have got up and walked out. I should have sort of shook hands and said, thanks very much. That'll be everything, bye. But so after about 6 months of aimless sort of time spent on Indeed and sort of LinkedIn jobs and that kind of stuff, I was put in touch with a woman who runs her own sort of freelancing business. I'd always been quite a strong writer. I did a creative writing degree when I was an undergrad, and I sort of developed my skills from there. So I always felt quite comfortable writing. And my dissertation as a master's student was about social media. I think the title was something like the impact of social media usage by brands and how it impacts consumer purchasing behavior. So I was really interested by it. I thought it was such a fascinating topic, as I'm sure you both agree. So I was put in touch with someone who freelances and ended up subcontracting for quite a while. Well, on and off for sort of 3 years.
Right.
And a lot of that was working on writing content, lots of engagement, and then sort of reporting on analytics and growth. The latter, the analytics and growth, was quite interesting in the end.
How you was finding the jobs?
In terms of like through freelancing?
Yeah.
Well, I must admit, my auntie just put me in touch with this woman who was running her own business.
How was it?
It was great. I loved it.
No, I mean, how she did that? How does it happen?
How
you
she
ask
do
her?
it?
Ask her?
I think it's just who you know a lot of the time. That's the harsh reality of it a lot of the time. If you're going to get that sort of work, it's using your connections.
Yeah, but I mean, do you was saying that I'm a copywriter? Can you give me some job or?
Yeah, so my aunt put me in touch with her, and then we had sort of not quite a discovery call, I guess people call it nowadays, but we had a couple of like Teams calls or Zoom calls back in the day, and she just tried to suss out if I was any good at stuff. And suss out. So
Find out.
Yeah.
Okay.
His English is improving though.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like speaking English native, in the UK for a year?
Because he said this,
And
we
then
did
doing a podcast.
we did a sort of recorded interview with Edgar when I first started. That was my first big project here, and the difference and how far he's come in his English is night and day. It's very impressive.
That was the second most embarrassing thing I ever done. The first one was last podcast.
That's soon to be replaced by whatever this turns out to be. So, but yeah, so the freelancer thing, I met the woman a couple of times online, and she sort of sent me a couple of really small tasks. I imagine the same thing when you get people in the business. You sort of give them little tasks to do to see how confident they are and see what their ability is like.
I give them a big task and watch them burn. The good ones survive.
Yeah, that speaks volumes of your staff retention.
Do you say that anyone can do it? What's the problem?
Yeah, exactly. Why did you then get a job at the uni? So how did that go? Why?
I mean, more interesting for now is why do you stop being freelancer? How is it was not going good, or
I think
why you decide to just drop it?
The harsh reality is that finance became a big issue. I wanted to progress in life quicker than the money I was bringing in freelancing.
How much you was earning doing freelance work?
It would range. I mean, I think on
average
on like 900 quid a month if I was lucky. Like I would peak at about 2,000. That'd be like my best ever month was 2,000. I remember being really panicked about tax and all that kind of stuff. If HMRC are listening, please don't get in touch.
No one listens to this podcast, mate.
It'd be me and my
you
mum.
can admit
That'd
to
be it, no one
murders on
else.
here.
But there were months at the start where I remember my first ever invoice was 90 quid. But that was like, I just graduated from uni. I felt like a rock star.
Do you remember first thing you wrote?
The first ever thing I wrote?
Yeah, for money.
For money. The first ever thing I wrote was I did an analysis of a marketing plan for a guy I met through Tumblr.
I heard you a big thing there. Do you know he have like 20,000 subscribers in Tumblr?
Why?
I got really into fashion blogging when I was an undergrad. I got really into clothes and that kind of stuff. I'm sure you can't tell now. I'm just like...
to be honest, you look like
just
a bag of shit today.
An Oasis fan let himself go kind of thing. But I got really into fashion and really blogging sort of in like 2012 when like, ASAP Rocky was the best thing ever.
He still is.
He still is. For some people, yeah.
For Rihanna.
He's worked wonders with Rihanna, so fair play to him. But I got really into that and yeah, I guess I timed it really well. I got very lucky, and that what I was into, a lot of people happened to be into, and I was one of the first ones sort of doing it a lot consistently on Tumblr. I stopped writing a lot though, and it's more like visual stuff. So I'd like go to Selfridges at the weekend and take pictures of shoes and post them. Then be like, I love these Zanottis and that kind of stuff. Check out these new Balenciagas. People be like, wow, amazing. But yeah, so anyway, I met people through that, and that was the first thing I ever did for money. Was he'd done a sort of market research thing, and he asked me to criticize it, and he paid me 30 quid for it. Big money. But I loved it. It was good fun.
When was the last point when you understand that you want to find a job, or it was get broke, have not enough money, or it was the other reasons?
I really wanted to move in with my girlfriend. That was sort of, we were at the point where I was quite keen to move forward with her, and that wasn't going to be feasible with my freelancing wage because it's so inconsistent. As I said, there were months where I was clearing 1,500 quid, which is fine, and there were months when I was like lucky to make 400. It was so project dependent.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult. That's something I found. I think we didn't need this bit of paper, did we? That's something I found.
For those who didn't see that, Tom's just knocked over a full bottle of
drink.
# not sponsored Festico drinks.
Nobody know what is it.
Yeah.
No, I think that's something I found when I started.
My paper too. The fuck you doing?
It's going really well.
Take 3. That's something that I found, I think, when I started the business, was that it was really tough to try and justify to a partner who you wanted to move in with and, actually start a life with, that some months you're going to earn 300 quid and barely be able to afford to pay the bills. So, yeah, I think it's a difficult sell. And I think for me, it was that we never really had the conversation where I asked, is that all right? So we just sort of fell into it, and then we were always stressed about money. Well, I was, because I had to pay the office rent here, and then 2 weeks later,
Do you split the other bills?
Yeah,
like rent bills.
We did, but then it got to the point where I owed her money for rent, and then still needed to pay the office rent, and it just took so long. But I think as the business started to grow, and after we'd been kind of dead for ages, when it really picked up, it was almost fine overnight. And yeah, we've not got back to that point, but I think it's always a risk where, if you have a family, or especially if you have responsibilities, then, freelance or running your own business might not be the option. That's why it's probably the best time to start a business is when you're young, especially coming out of uni. I think that was perfect for me because I didn't have any money. So I didn't have anything really to lose.
Well, you figure out, last time I was talking, that you find a way.
Yeah.
To lose money when you don't have money. That was genius.
Listen, it's easily done, because what you figure out about bank account is there's
this thing called the overdraft, which is your friend.
Overdraft, right? Nobody told me about that. But no, I think you barely have anything to lose, because if you have a house, if you have kids, and then you're going to start a business and it doesn't go well and you've put your savings into it, then you're shit out of luck if it goes bad.
I was super lucky in that when I graduated uni, I just moved home. So when I was freelancing, everything I made was profit. I didn't have rent to pay. I was very lucky my parents didn't charge me for rent.
So it's kind of your 1,500.
That's about £1 million a month for everyone else.
At least 1,000
with
plus.
free meals.
Free meals.
Free food.
No bills. It was great. So as long as I could pay my phone bill and my gym membership, I was clear. I was absolutely fine. But as I said, when it got to the point where I was thinking about, all right, I think I got to about 25 and sort of thought, I'm 27 now, so a couple of years ago, and I sort of thought, Christ, I can't live at home forever. I started feeling a bit embarrassed about it and said, okay, it's time to get a job. And I didn't have the belief that I'd be able to go out there and sell my services. I think that was something I really struggled with, was lead generation. I relied so heavily on either sort of subcontracting project work or referrals. I remember when I was freelancing, I was so dead against LinkedIn, which I look back and I really, really regret it, because I thought it was really sort of pompous as a network. I love it now. I'm a huge, huge fan of LinkedIn. If you're not going on LinkedIn, find me. Link in bio, hopefully.
I'll put your link in the description somewhere.
Yeah, thanks. The 5 people listen to it that already got me on LinkedIn. That'd be great.
To be honest, 4 of those are me and Edgar.
Yeah. And me, just on repeat all day.
Yeah. I'll add you, mate.
Thank you, cheers. But yeah, so I was terrible at getting new business in. and not great at holding on to business as well. So when there was that point where a lot of people freelancing, they'll sort of half their clients and double the rate to sort of make up time and then go and get new clients. I was getting to that point where I was sort of thinking about doing that, and then a job at uni came up, and I sort of thought, it's a great place to work.
You was looking for it already, or you just accidentally saw it?
The final project I worked on was scanning bank statements to find charges relating to a certain activity, should we say, to help this client do their taxes. And I remember doing that. It was like £90 an hour they asked me to do it. It's a huge amount of money, but it was just the most monotonous thing ever, and I hated doing it. And I remember being sat in this tiny little box office at my mum's house doing it in the middle of summer, and just thinking, this isn't it. Wherever this is, it's not it. And then I happened to be on Indeed, I think it was, and I saw the job. I think ever since moving to Lincoln about 7 years ago, I've always wanted to work at the uni, because it just seems like a nice place to work. I think it's great. I think it's a great university generally.
How was the hiring process for the uni? Because so Meg was looking for jobs at the uni, and it's just like, it seems like the most school thing ever. Like so many questions that you have to answer like in a specific way. Just so many questions on an application form. Did you not think, what is this job?
Not really, because you apply for. When I got to that mindset of, I don't want to freelance anymore, I want to do something else, you go into that sort of panic mode of being like, I'm going to apply for everything and anything, really, as long as it fits a certain wage bill, and then as long as I'm fairly capable of doing what the job seems to entail, you go for it. The uni one, I mean, I can't speak for every single role at the university, but mine was, I think it's 4 or 5 questions about experience. I think I answered them. I think my current boss will tell you not very well. She'll probably hate me for saying that, but my interview...
She hates you anyway.
She does indeed, yeah. My interview was much stronger than my application, but at some point in that terms of application, you have to prove that you kind of know what you're talking about. I'd much rather that than like a LinkedIn one where it's like easy apply and you chuck a CV into the abyss basically and never hear back from people. I'd much rather spend a couple of hours answering questions about how would I manage a particularly tight deadline, as opposed to just not hear back from like 50 companies. So,
yeah, I guess it's a good way for employers to kind of root out people that, don't care. I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed when we've taken on either part-time staff or, even freelancers, is it doesn't really matter what the skill is, past a certain point, if they really don't give a shit about wanting to actually do it.
Yeah, I think that's where the uni's really, really good to work at, is that people care. I mean, don't get me wrong, people aren't sort of workaholics, but they really care about the work we do. And I think a lot of the time the work we do is quite impactful. So I think that really helps. And maybe that is one of the benefits of slightly a more rigorous application process. It's just that you do happen to get those people that sort of think, actually, I'm going to buy into this and I believe in the mission.
Do you face any problems that you don't have any work before, so you don't have basically work experience, only freelance work? When you apply to the work, is there was any questions from them? Why did you never have work before?
Well, I'd worked in-house before at an affiliate marketing company. I did that for from graduating university, I freelanced for about a year. But I say freelance, it was very loose. I did very little actual freelancing. I did like the odd project, and I was just like getting by. And in that time, I was volunteering at the Oxfam bookshop in town, and I then got a job managing a charity shop in Nottingham. Whilst that was in 2020, so obviously most of 2020 was spent at home, barely working. And then my contract at the charity shop ended on Christmas Day in 2020.
Merry Christmas.
I got an automated text on Christmas Day.
Yeah, so it was gap 2 years between your works.
Yeah, it's really patchy.
So when you have interview, is there any questions about it? Or it was just, okay.
It was,
guy just not work for 2 years, was doing nothing, let's hire him.
It wasn't that I hadn't worked, I just hadn't had a full-time job. I said the references of people that I'd freelanced for, so it wasn't that. And if the questions were skill-based, I had the skills to fill them. So the needs for my job I could answer from my experience freelancing, which is great. And a lot of it is working to tight deadlines with very quick turnaround times.
What do you think, what skills help you to get this work? Can you maybe give some advice to people who switching from freelance work or having no job before and they want to find full-time job? Can you give them some tips? What can help them to find the job? What skills they need? What they should pay attention to?
I think there's loads of really good online resources for people looking to build skills. So I remember during 2020, I was a big fan of the Google Digital Garage. I did quite a lot of their courses just because I felt really far behind. In this second lockdown, I remember sort of thinking, I need to do something. I've got this very shiny degree, but I haven't really done anything with it in a while. Do I need to really buck up my ideas? So I really struggle with motivation as well. That's another reason I sort of stopped freelancing, was just that I was terrible at motivating myself to do stuff. I was really blitzy. I'm like that now to a certain extent, but during that time I really struggled to motivate myself to do stuff. And I found that I love working to deadlines. I love if I'm given deadlines by people because I can work to it. I'm always early on a deadline. But if I'm just, is it Richardson's law, that thing where a task will take you as long as you give it? I'm awful for that.
Yeah, I think that's something that people really need when they have their own business, or I guess when they're freelance as well. Is that, especially when you don't have a lot of stuff on, it's like making time to do stuff, and then constantly, giving yourself the self motivation to actually get things done, because nobody's really looking at you and saying, "Is that done?" And you kind of set your own schedule. So it's making sure. It's really difficult. It took me a while, I think, because like when I first moved into Spark House, I was a couple of offices down from this one, and we just barely had anything on. And it was really easy to like just go home at 2:30 and get in at 10:30 and be like, well, I tried. Let's try again tomorrow.
Sorry, can I actually answer the question that Ed asked? I realise I've done that classic thing of just going on a complete tangent.
Yeah, sure.
My advice would be, build your skills.
I'm surprised you listen.
You've got a vacant look in your eyes.
Got a vacant look in your eyes, yeah. I always listen to what you say. You got things of value to say.
Really? Him?
Build your skills, build your network, and be open to anything, basically. I mean, the times when I was freelancing, if I was offered work, I said yes. I can't remember a single project that I said no to. Actually, until I started working here, I worked at the uni, and there was like a transition period where one of the people that I was freelancing or subcontracting for, every now and then she would text me being like, have you got capacity in the evenings to maybe work on this? And I took great delight in being able to say no, just because I didn't want to anymore. And maybe the money would be good, but I was happy to have that freedom too. But yeah, build your skills. There's so much online where you can look at it. If it's Google Digital Garage, even YouTube. I know like that's the big hot thing at the moment, just like you can learn whatever you want on YouTube. I sound like Gary Vee, or like LinkedIn Learning. I know is it behind a paywall? I can't remember.
To be honest, I don't know. I think they bought, was it Linda?
Who?
She was a learning thing, which then got taken over by LinkedIn Learning. I could be completely wrong. The other good one is HubSpot. So whenever we had people on, like work experience from schools, like one of the tasks is go on there, pick a course, do it. But they have certifications, so they're great for, I guess, even if you're making that transition between freelance and having a job, and then you're wanting to stack out your CV. I feel like those courses, not that they're better than a degree, but it shows that you actively care enough.
Yeah, it shows the drive to go and learn more about the thing you want to do.
Yeah, so it's probably more impressive if
that's what I told myself. But
I think it's right though. If you can put 10 of those on your CV, it shows that you're actually really interested in.
Yeah, that was the thing good about Google Digital Garage. We're not sort of sponsored by them, but I think it was a fantastic resource. So I think it became free during COVID, didn't it? I think it used to be behind a paywall, and then they opened it up.
I'm not sure,
Again,
but I remember
that might be bollocks. But
I remember something like that where everyone suddenly started doing it. I think you could be right.
Yeah, because
they
were
know what
good.
you're talking about.
Google Garage.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like-
know what is it.
It's like an online learning
just-
platform, and you get e-certificates for it, so you can prove that you've done it.
Yeah, I think I done some tests in LinkedIn, like prove
Yeah.
your skills to get a badge or something.
They're similar,
And,
yeah. They're similar.
So I tried the video editing skills. It was about Adobe, but it was so not related to any work in Adobe. I still passed it, but I was thinking this have nothing to do with editing.
Who
Yeah.
can
And they
afford
give-
Adobe though? Honestly, who needs to learn that? It's so
That's-
expensive. I get it free for the uni.
Yeah.
In fact, we cut that out just in case anyone hears that.
You
But
still don't know how to use it.
I don't need to.
asking every time he asking how to do this. Are you good on this? Can you help me?
One of the best things in life you will learn is not being scared to ask for help.
All the time.
Just like that, personal growth. Reach out to people.
That's the sound clip for this whole episode. Is don't be afraid to just fucking ask Edgar.
So do you think that your experience being freelancer is actually helping you in the work now? And if yes, what skills are helping?
I'd say that adaptability is a big one. And
Can you give example?
being able to switch styles of work, basically going from, as part of the work I do for Research and Enterprise, a lot of it is quite varied. There'll be times when you have to write from multiple perspectives or just write from multiple knowledge bases, and having that ability to sort of switch on and off depending on the audience you're talking to or the subject you're talking about. That was a big thing in freelancing when I was working for a wide range of clients across multiple sectors. There were some things that were B2B, B2C, really informal, really formal. That was one of the things that I feel has really helped me working in the uni. Is I find it not too difficult to sort of jump from hat to hat. That's a really convoluted metaphor that I've sort of muddled along the way. But yeah, adaptability and being able to sort of change.
And what about, the freelancers are often work at home at night, overworking to just meet deadlines. But now you can, after 5, basically say, bye, see you tomorrow.
After 4:30.
I know you're still working. After that time. But I think it's not really right to do for a person who work in full-time job. Because you don't have to work not in work hours.
Yeah.
And Dominick still do it. And I think it's really freelance entrepreneur habit to do it.
What do you mean? You think I'll work?
Yeah, I think you can just after 5 say bye. I'm not gonna do any work, and you have a right to do it. And I think that's what people who have full-time job can do and should do.
I think looking back to
Even
when
if I don't like it, but I think I would have a full-time job, I would say after 5, just bye.
You work 7 days a week though. I asked you how your weekend was.
Yeah, but I don't have a full-time job.
Yeah,
we have a double-time job.
Yeah, we're working more, sleeping less, earning less, but we are free.
I think, yeah, great. Fist bump on that. When I freelanced, I was really bad at working really long Monday, Tuesday, and I'd get everything I needed to do done. Like I'd work a very long day Monday and then Tuesday morning, and then take the rest of the week off because I could do what I want with it. And I would just spiral into
That's why I had so many fucking months where you were earning 400 quid, mate.
Well, it's because I was
because you weren't working.
I would agree a rate for a project, and they'd say, right, you got 3 weeks to do it, and I would do it in 2 days. It sounds really, really lazy, but the work was good. It wasn't shit work. That's another thing about discipline of freelancing. Is nothing that I wanted to stop doing it. Most weeks I'd work like Monday, Tuesday, and then I'd dip in and out. But like from like Wednesday to Saturday, I don't like having free time mostly because I just spiral into like a pit of like depression, boredom.
Yeah.
And I really struggle not doing stuff. I look back, I wish I could change that and stagger stuff out. And I'm sure that's stuff that you two, we've spoken about it before, and free time can be a bit of a poison chalice.
Yeah, pretty much. I think for me though, it's more of a balance to try and get some free time in and force myself to take it. And try and remind myself that actually if I do have some time off, if I take a day off, I'll feel a lot better for the rest of the week. But it's kind of the opposite, where you could finish your work Monday, Tuesday, and probably I could as well. But then
What do you do with the time?
I just shove everything else that I can possibly do in, because then if I get really busy next week, I'll be able to manage it. So even if I don't have too much work on, I work like we're going out of business every week.
See, that's what I told myself that I would do. On the weeks when I would blitz on Monday, Tuesday, I would tell myself that, right, Wednesday I'm going to look into leads. Thursday I'm going to do a bit of extra engagement so the stacks look really good when I report them into the month. And then Friday, maybe I'll take the morning off, I'll have a lie in, and then I'll do some more whatever in the afternoon. And I just wouldn't, because it wasn't tangible. I wasn't being paid to do it. I didn't have a deadline on it. It was like extra stuff that I thought would benefit me in theory. But then I'd wake up in the morning and be like, I'm just going to go and play my Switch, or I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go and do nothing and just be bored and be annoyed at myself for being bored.
So is it became better to separate your personal life and work life when you start to have a full-time job?
Yeah, kind of. I'm terrible at taking time off now. I think
You're
that's
taking it all the time.
yeah. I've had a few days.
Every week.
I think that's one thing people are like. You particular, I'm just staring at Edgar now. You are really bad. If I'm ever working from home, you're like, well, it's a day off. It's a day off.
It is.
Is it though?
Probably.
Is it though?
Probably.
But it's not. But so that's the work-life balance question is one of those things where, yeah, I'll work 8 till 4:30, 5 days a week, or 8 till 4 on a Friday. Edgar raises his eyebrows. Perks of working at the uni. It's a fantastic place to work. Apply now. But yeah, in theory, I can switch off at 4:30. But I think sort of a hangover from freelancing. If I get an email at 5, I'll read it. If I get an email at 7, I'll read it. If I'm on leave, I'll read my emails.
Do you think it's the right thing to do?
No, I shouldn't do it. And my fantastic manager reminds me that I should not be doing that. It's not a healthy way to act.
She right?
Yeah,
Listen
she
to
is.
her.
She is always right. I've yet to know her to be wrong, but
Someone's hunting a promotion.
sadly not, I think. But I've had bad managers in my time and I've had good managers in my time. And it's nice to know I've got a decent one at the moment.
For a guy who have only 2 jobs, you have too much managers in his
Yeah.
life.
He was the worst manager of
Do you
himself.
want my entire employment history, all the pubs I worked
Well,
at? and all
that's
that
what
kind of
you
stuff?
tell us. I don't know that.
Well, it's like
That
relevant,
our
isn't it? It's
Viewers
like-
don't know that. You say that you have it your first job, then it's appeared that you have 1 job before. Now you say it was more. I don't know.
Well, it's
we
like,
can trust
it's like,
you.
It's like relevant. It's like relevant experience, isn't it? It's like on your CV you don't include. Yeah, I was a kitchen porter.
I do. That'd be like my only job. Did I ever tell you my Subway story?
Like
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes.
this
No.
is just because Edgar's had
Did I
5
tell you how I
million
quit
jobs.
Subway?
No.
Did I tell you how I quit
You
Subway?
just throw bread at people,
There was
Tell us.
bread throwing.
throwing some meat.
So this is why self-employment's for me, every job. And, I'm listening to you talk about working at the uni, and obviously you prefer it and it's way better for you and it suits your life. I don't think I could have a normal job. I think unless it had ridiculous responsibility to it. So it basically felt like I was running my own business. I don't think I'd be able to do it. So I worked at Subway for years, and then I worked at one in Sheffield, and basically I'd been on till like 10:30 at night, and then I went home. So I closed the shop down, went home. I got home, got into bed after a shower, because the thing about Subway is you really stink of herb and cheese bread. That's a real thing. Your whole
like a bad
wardrobe stink. No, it is everything. You can be at a wedding. Someone's like, did you order a Subway?
Well, actually,
Actually, no, I just stink.
is that a Subway in your pocket or?
No, it's another roll of mine. So I got home after a shower. I de-herb and cheesed myself.
You got home after a shower. Where
No,
were you
I
showering?
got home. I showered, bro.
okay,
right?
fine.
So I got home. I showered. New manager texts me. There's a guy. So he was from Leicester. He then bought the Subway in Sheffield, and he was like, "Oh, sorry. Can you open up tomorrow because someone's rang in sick?" And opening up's like 5:30 a.m. I was like, "Okay, but I really shouldn't be doing it." So I said, okay. And he said, I'll be there at 6 and then you can go back to bed. And I was like, fine. So I got there at 5:30, opened up, started like preheating the ovens. 6 o'clock comes. Oh, are you nearly here, mate? He said, oh, I'll be there at like 10. I'm like, right, okay. So then I worked till 10. Nobody shows up. I worked till 11. One guy comes in who wasn't the owner, just some guy like, oh, I thought it was like Joe that was supposed to be opening this morning. I ring him up and I'm like, I really need to go, mate. Like, I'm real tired. And he says, oh, I'll be there in a couple of hours. Anyway, he doesn't show up. Right? He doesn't show up. So I've been working from like 5:30 p.m. the day before till 10:30, get there at 5:30 a.m. And now it's like 3 p.m. I end up staying till 6 p.m. Then I go home because someone else comes in for the evening shift. I'm in bed, like wired out my brain, stinking of sandwiches. And then I get a call from one of the fucking idiots that had gone in. And he's like, oh, we don't have keys. Can you come and lock the shop up? So I'm in bed and now I'm pissed off. Right? But I go and I get into the shop. this is relevant to something. We'll tie it to
Yeah, you
something
tell
later
yourself
on.
that, yeah.
Anyway.
You just must slander Subway for 10 minutes.
It's not Subway. It's just this one guy. He's my nemesis, right?
10-minute long.
Yeah. So anyway, I get back. I count the till up because they don't know what they're doing. Like, I shut off all the system. I lock up, put the alarm on, go. And then it's like 10:30 again. And I should have been home at 6 a.m. Anyway, my next pay slip comes through. Like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, my next pay slip comes through and the manager's like in the office gives me it. And I'm already still pissed off because that, like, you don't do stuff like that to staff. And then I'm like 40p down on my pay slip because he took 40p off me because the till was down by £1.20 for the day that I'd helped out. So then I lost my shit. And then I quit the job because I was 40p down. And then I was screaming at the guy and I was like, you can't do this. And then he was kicking off at me like, look, the till was down. And then I started swearing at him. I took my uniform off. I threw my uniform off and I walked back bare chested. And that is why I'm not going to get hired at another Subway.
Edgar, what's the best way you've lost a job?
Never really. Oh,
You've never been hired.
no, that's not true.
Edgar's done everything.
Yeah.
No.
Butcher, potato farmer,
ice cream seller,
I never really
mermaid.
lost the job. I quit one time, and the other one I have to go because the department or company where I was working was just closing. And I started working company. It means it's gonna close soon. So don't know about Spark House, but
Yeah, they're going under now. You joined.
We're very pleased to have you.
What
Great
about you?
times.
Have you ever been fired spectacularly or quit?
I was working at a bar in the village that I lived, and a woman came in.
It's another job. I was working as a trampolinist in the south of France.
I'm start to thinking if he was a really freelancer, he just having other jobs.
Yeah, like,
That's what he was doing
from-
Wednesday through
from-
Friday. He was trampolining.
From graduating from uni, I did.
You're not that old.
Yeah, but
How-
I
he
still
looks
I still
old.
had jobs as like a younger person. I still did like the same jobs everyone else does, like working in pubs and restaurants and that kind of stuff.
I didn't work in pubs or restaurants.
Only on construction and subway.
Only in making 35 grand a year in construction.
So
Can't believe
No,
it.
that was with my pizza job.
Okay.
And that was a shit job.
that's
double tax.
Really different.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, this woman came in every Sunday and ordered loads of drinks, and she came in the first week and I got one wrong. She wasn't pleased about it. She was a regular, she was like favourites. She came in the next week, I got two wrong. She was furious. Third week she came in, I got another one wrong, and she had a real go at me in front of quite a lot of people. I told her where to go, and my manager happened to be behind me, and he said, "I'm really sorry, we're gonna have to let you go." So I never heard back from him.
I couldn't do a customer, like, you know, I can't believe how hard I used to have to work for money.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
just sweating. I mean, I'm sweating on the podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say I've seen you in your office, but
Yeah.
That's why I choose office with air conditioner.
Yeah.
So you
I'm too fat for ambient temperature. Like, I have to be chilled.
perks of Spark House apply now.
Yeah. You could really do with AC.
So let's talk about your work. You work in marketing, and is it much different from what you have done before?
Massively. Yeah. I assist on projects and events as part of the marketing team. Yeah.
Do event strategy to enhance the synergy between Lincoln Uni and the local community.
Just lots and lots and lots of buzzwords. Yeah, I'm part of the marketing team for Eastern Enterprise.
So I think the marketing is really changing, especially in the last couple years, and keep changing really fast. And there's so much tools, latest trends, what affecting your work, what make it worse, more complicated, or better.
It's great. Things like ChatGPT, as long as they're used properly, they save you a lot of time. I mean, as long as you can edit things properly, because everyone knows if you ask ChatGPT to do anything, it will do it, but you know it's ChatGPT, and obviously people can check if it is or not.
How you use it?
How you things. It often will ask it to do, if we're doing blogs or write-ups of stuff, it can provide a spine and then we flesh it out.
Do you doing copywriting before, helping in that?
I never used it when I was freelancing.
No, it wasn't exist before.
Yeah, indeed. Did it?
No,
When did it pop up?
like Jasper AI, which was called Jarvis, but Marvel sued them.
I was going to say, yeah, like Iron Man.
I had that from like 2021. It was
good.
It was really good, but then out of nowhere, ChatGPT came and
I will tell
finished.
you now, had ChatGPT been around when I was freelancing, yeah, I would have used it quite a lot.
He'd have just worked half a Monday.
Do you think now is much less freelance work for freelancers because it exists?
No, there's work for good freelancers, I think. Is that a horrible thing to say?
No,
I think...
Just be honest.
I went to an event run by a fellow office space company in Lincoln that was talking about ChatGPT, and a woman on the panel was talking about, she was a copywriter and was talking about it, and it's all about learning to use it and making that you better, making it better for you as a copywriter. And I think that's the thing. I think that there will be certain jobs that I'd be shaking in my boots, but I think if you're a copywriter who's genuinely a good writer, it's a fantastic tool because it can, as I said, how we use it, it provides bones for stuff, and it saves us an hour of writing. Instead, we can edit for half an hour.
Yeah, I think it probably saves us like 40 minutes a blog now.
40 pounds an hour?
40 with Tommy's rate.
For my rate.
For his
If
rate,
only.
yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe if I'm working for a charity.
He's billing me for me doing this, so
Yeah, I probably should. But it was a really difficult sell for the copywriters in our team because I pushed them to use it and they were like, no, we don't like it using it. And I'm like, fucking use it.
yeah, I think you've got to embrace it. I think you just have to, because it's going to be, well, I know you've just got on the new one, haven't you? 4.0 or whatever.
Yeah, I
had
got
that for
yesterday
ages.
approved the
For
API keys for GPT-4. So I don't try it yet, but
Yeah.
I think
We don't-
it should be.
We don't use it that often, but when we do, it's like a complementary tool. We don't just ask it to pump content out and we post it. You know, things like if we're writing a press release or something like that, it can give us a structure. But
Yeah, I think when it just appeared, a lot of copywriters and content creators meet it really aggressively and was just try to prove that we are better than AI
Yeah,
and it's not good, and try to convince everyone in it, which I think was wrong.
you sort of talk to
Because-
people about it, and they sort of, I think they view it in a way that they view it to cut corners, and they think, oh, this is going to save me loads of time, so my work, I don't know, so I don't have to do the work. I think it has to be viewed as an addition. It has to be viewed to make something better, not to replace your work. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and
At
I
least
think
that's the way I view it. I wouldn't be comfortable in my role pumping stuff out that had gone through ChatGPT, because I would be worried that it would be bad and then it would make me look lazy.
what our team have sort of proved really is that if you can use ChatGPT on a topic that you're kind of unsure about to spit out maybe 2 or 3 different drafts, not full drafts, but outlines of a blog, then it takes up to an hour off a piece. That's sort of 600-700 words, takes up to an hour off, which is obviously good for our bottom line. But for blogs in particular, what it doesn't do is reference. So that's why I think that, if you're writing to a high level, not only does Google really hate AI generated content, but also it's really important that if you're going to actually produce valuable content, if it's a, kind of general educational blog, then you're still going to have to fill that time and go out and find sources and find links that you can send people to.
You're doing it now. Do you try using
through
Bing?
the API.
No, using Bing, which is free.
Yeah.
If you do it, it's doing the same job, but for every source, everything. Can give you context, can give you links.
That's mental.
If you're not sure about something, about some information it provides, you can just follow the link and kind of read it yourself, make sure that it's actual legit information. And
Yeah.
it's already there. And the scariest thing for everyone, I think, who in creative industry, it's only half year.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
What will be in 2-3 years?
That's what everyone says, is that it's not going to take our jobs now. In its current form, no.
In
but
months.
It's sort of scary what it could.
Yeah, it'll be at
could
least 6
become.
days.
Well, you don't have to worry about.
It could develop into something quite scary. But it's that thing of, turkeys voting for Christmas. Are we going to really want to pursue something that is going to replace us? Is that just human curiosity, where we're desperate to see how far we can push it before it gets really bad?
Well, I don't know. I think, there's agencies out there that don't use it. They're like adamant, nobody use it. We need to use our brains. And it's like, if you have a maths question, do you tell them not to use a calculator, but just to write it out on paper? I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes. for me personally.
I think I haven't used it in a while. I think it's one of those things where if you're not familiar with your subject, then it can help. I've been in the job long enough now that I kind of have a good enough awareness of the work we do. So if I'm asked to do a write-up of an event or write-up of an award or something like that, I kind of know what I'm talking about. So I don't need the prompts. I don't need that. I can just blitz it in half an hour and obviously edit and then post. But I think if you're a freelancer, I think you've got to embrace it. You've got to really dive into what it does and how it can help. Because as soon as you're avoiding using it, it will just steam on you.
Yeah, which is everything as well. Like I was using it to write a grant application earlier based on... So I put in the spec of the grant application, the competition, and then I fed it last year's grant application, and then I fed it the feedback, and then I also fed it the change in project that we're presenting for this year's one, because I was looking at it and I was blank, like when I came to write it, and I know everything about the project, and I was still thinking, what the hell do I write? So I just fed it everything, and I was really clear, like, this is last year's stuff, don't do anything with it, just look at it. This is the, overview of the competition. This is what we need to kind of, bear in mind when we're writing everything else. This is what the project is. This is stage 1. This is stage 2. This is how they're different. This is the benefits. And then just unleashed it. And then with ChatGPT 4 now, because the reasoning is so much better, it just looks at that. And it was able to I can't just present them because, they're not factually accurate, all of the answers that it's given. But it's probably saved me because, I think there's about 6,000-7,000 words of content that I need to write for this application. It'll have saved me maybe 6, 7, 8 hours.
Yeah.
I think AI not gonna replace people, but people who use an AI will.
I think some jobs will go.
Let's talk about
mic drop.
Let's talk about some other trends. Like yesterday was released new social network called Threads.
Threads, yeah.
What do you think about it?
I don't know what to make of it. I've had a little play around on it, and the homepage seems super messy at the moment. It feels a lot like the For You tab on Twitter, where you just get random suggested sort of posts. I was going to call them tweets there, so not tweets, like random threads from things that they think you might like.
I just saw your content.
Edgar loves it. Edgar's a big fan.
He posted
Download
big threader.
And I see everyone who I know who was there already, they just start to post every 10-15 minutes. And I was like, I want to be part of it. So I just started to do it. And I think it's not really fair network because you're not starting from zero from there. It's depends how many subscribers on Instagram you have, because it's basically bringing everyone from there. So if you have 1,000 on Instagram, 10,000, you bring at least half of them there, and you already have kind of...
But a following. You have people
you have
already there.
And you already have benefits. The app itself, I don't think it's great. It lack of a lot of things. It's nothing new.
Would it exist if Elon Musk hadn't bought Twitter?
Would it exist if not Instagram? What if it was not connected to Instagram and it was just separate app?
Well, it's just Twitter.
Probably. Yeah. What's the other one? Matador, the kind of open source Twitter. But I think...
Is that
when you hear about it?
Mastodon, I don't know, whatever it is.
Matador the ball people.
Yeah, Matador is the bull with the red.
The red, yeah.
What's the one called?
Is it Mastodon? I don't know.
Probably.
Toreador.
I'd Google it, but is it?
Toreador.
What?
Toreador.
Edgar knows.
That's not a word, bro. You just made that up. Say that again.
Toreador.
Terminator.
It's very xenophobic of you, Tom.
I'm not xenophobic. I'm just scared of foreigners.
That won't make the edit.
It will.
Do you think it will stay longer? Threads. Or it will be just another Clubhouse?
I kind of view it as... Obviously, I've played around with it for like 2 days. I downloaded it yesterday morning for my personal account and had a little play around with it. But I think it's just like... I don't know what value it's going to be from a business point of view, really. I think at this moment in time, I don't plan on using it that much for work. It might be like more of an informal place, maybe, for one of the accounts that I look after. I don't think the tracking on it is great in terms of being able to follow posts and that kind of stuff. I know you get notifications on it, but like...
Wow. You get notifications in
Not on my phone. I turn everything off.
Yeah. But
I don't think there's space for it, to be honest. I think if it kills Twitter, which it probably won't,
But Twitter won't. Everyone said Twitter won't. Like, it just won't. Like I know. It's like it's
not
gone
agree
to the
with you. I
dogs.
think that Twitter is more engaging platform than most of the meta ones.
But Twitter's this
Not
sort
all,
of,
most of it.
people love complaining about how shit Twitter is on Twitter. That's like where complaining about Twitter does best. No one's going to Facebook to complain how bad Twitter is. No one's going back. I know there was a big joke a couple of weeks ago about going back to Tumblr, the big exodus back to Tumblr. No one's doing that.
That will be
You'll
your...
be famous.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I can
Go on, everybody. Come back.
influencer, yeah.
I was waiting for it.
But no, because people love complaining about Twitter on Twitter, so it's not going to go anywhere unless he really, really screws the pooch on it, and it really does go downhill. It's not going to go anywhere. Too many people are on it. It's like, I know on MySpace, Bieber, that kind of stuff, but it won't. I don't think it won't.
Yeah,
I'm happy to die on that hill as well.
I think threads will stay, but not as big as Twitter, or it will be just addition to Facebook, Instagram, their messenger of
TikTok.
their ecosystem of meta apps, and just connect them to it. And
I just don't see a space for it. There's like one photo sharing app. It's Instagram. Yeah, it's got Reels, but that was a TikTok thing, and it's
What
not
about
the main.
VSCO? Visco. You ever heard of Visco?
No.
From what age, this guy?
I don't know, but he looks fucking old. I don't think Dom looks like the spitting image of that like dad from Inside Out.
From Inside Out, yeah. Tom's got this printed out in his office on the wall to mock me every time I see him.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think there's space for it. There's one photo app, it's Instagram. There's one like long form video sharing place, it's YouTube. And you say, yeah, Vimeo exists, but like not really. It's more of like a lockdown kind of business sharing tool.
Yeah, Vimeo's a business app, really.
One thread space, pretty much, is Twitter. Like Reddit's its own ecosystem. There's one like there's Snapchat. It's like we don't know. If I say Snapchat to you, like you couldn't tell me like an alternative. It's because there's only really space for one, because that's where everybody goes, and these apps only work when there's a network effect where people go and then they all pour in. The only fact that we're even talking about spaces now is because it can integrate with Instagram. If you couldn't add all of your followers from Instagram, nobody would have either heard about it because there was no pre-launch marketing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I don't see a reason why they would stay.
Yeah.
I expect to see a lot of the same content on Threads as I would see everywhere else. As soon as people work out how to multi-share to different platforms,
Yeah, I think
it's just going to be that.
I think it will stay because Meta have enough money to just maintain it and just pretend that it's all right, things going how they plan, and just keep throwing traffic from Instagram, from Facebook into it. But
We'll
not going to
see.
be a big thing, I think. It just, yeah. People are different. And the other thing, I don't think the Instagram is photo app anymore. It literally, words of their CEO was, we are no longer the photo app anymore. And they just focused on videos.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like the harsh reality of Instagram is now, if you're not a celebrity or naked, if you're not doing video,
Then I'm not going to
you
follow
don't
you.
perform well.
Yeah, you not perform well. Plus, Meta just taking everything from other apps.
How
And not
excited?
really-
How excited are you for Meta to fail when the metaverse doesn't pay off? Because their headset's shit. Nobody's buying it, and they've invested billions and billions and billions. Everybody hates Zucker.
You want the Apple one though, don't you? You're
Yeah,
like
of course
really
I
keen
do.
to get the Apple
I'm getting
one.
that.
Yeah.
Why would I not?
I'm really excited about their fight.
I don't-
yeah,
I don't think-
that's going to be mental. No,
Yeah,
it'll
if
be really
it will
boring,
be,
but-
that will be.
I don't
that
think
will
it'll
be
be a
fun.
contest because
Yeah, probably not.
I can't see Meta winning this. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about most things, but I just can't see any world where people would adopt the metaverse
No.
as presented by.
The whole thing with Metaverse was look like really bad online games. Really, every meta universe, they just connect blockchain in transactions, but the rest of it, the games, they are just horrible. They are worse than World of Warcraft. Then it started. I mean, like,
What niche
they
What's
was
wrong
just
with
really
World of Warcraft?
nothing. It was
That was
great.
my childhood.
But it was like 15 years ago, and they
It's-
proposing games,
Yeah,
and it was,
it was.
the same.
15 minutes ago for Tom.
Whatever.
Dom, from
Wait.
this podcast,
Yeah.
what advice then, in summary, freelance or full-time work?
I think
Quickly.
I think find a workplace that suits you full time. I think the place I worked before I went to the uni, I just didn't I didn't suit that. I didn't fit in well. And I knew that I think you know within like a month of working somewhere if it's going to be good for you or not. And I felt the opposite at my previous employer than I do now. I think the team and the department here is fantastic. Everyone's really supportive and really just
I'm
great.
not talking
great to work
about
with.
here. I'm just not
But
for you.
generally, but
just
I think-
generally. Yeah, for people who don't know or they maybe think that having a full-time job is better or being freelancer is better. How to make a decision? It's always you think that you will get more money being freelancer or you will get more time, but sometimes it's opposite.
Test the waters. If you're a student and you come out of university and you're with a particular skill set, 100% give it a go. I mean, if you're a videographer or a photographer or a copywriter or you're whatever, give it a go. If you can find work, definitely give it a go. But learn what suits you best. Learn your working patterns as well. I think it's a really big thing. Give it a go. Give freelancing a go, I would say. But for me, I suited in-house much better.
Yeah, I think that the biggest point, especially when you've come out of uni or you've tried freelance, for instance, I think the best thing you can possibly do is find out that a job isn't for you, because there are so many jobs in the world. There's so many different ways of working, so many different locations, industries, sectors, that if you can try and pinpoint a few that you definitely don't want to do ever again, then slowly over time, I think you really narrow down who you are and what working style suits you.
I think life is far too short to do a job you hate.
It is with my BMI.
You'll outlive all of us for some horrible reason.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that guy's like 50, spends like £2 million a year to make himself 18 again? Have you seen those? Give it a Google
No,
later
mate,
on.
we're busy.
Yeah. You've got to do something with your evenings. Just research this guy. It's great stuff. To sum up, give it a go.
Thanks.
Definitely give it a go.
Would
freelancer.
if it was easier for you to find the leads, if it was much more work being a freelancer, and this wasn't an issue, would you still choose the full-time job?
I like the consistency that a salaried role brings.
Yeah, but if you have enough leads.
But there's always that fear at the end of the month submitting your invoices about how next month's going to go. Don't worry, if I was a copywriter and I had 50 retainers a month that were paying me £500 a month, I would freelance. Yeah, of course, anyone would. Of course you would. It's completely down to money. One of the salient reasons that I quit was that I was so worried about money, and my discipline was terrible. And having an in-house job where there are people, you're accountable to deadlines and you're accountable to projects much more from other people. I react very well to strong management, and I don't hold myself to that sort of standard.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problem that when you're working on yourself, you're not gonna get payment till you finish, and you have to do the work. That's why you're overworking. That's why you're trying to do it faster, better. And when you have full-time job, you're gonna get your money anyway.
Yeah, especially I think with staff, it's kind of amplified because let's say I'm working on retainer work where it's costing me money now for other people to do it. So it's the start of July now. Then I can invoice that at the end of July, start of August. And then after that, it's going to be a month before I receive the money. So I'm always 2 months down, or at least a month and a half down.
Overdraft and then other things.
I hated waiting for
I've
invoices.
never had an overdraft with the business, which is good.
Yeah, because you learn your lesson.
Yeah, I learned my lesson when I was dead. But anyway, I think that's all we've pretty much got time for. But thank you very much for listening to this second and the worst episode of TED Talks so far. Thanks for that, Dom.
Yeah, I'm really sure I've not said anything of actual value. It's probably worth saying that any views...
To be honest, mate, we put your mic on mute when you sat down.
Any views said by me are not those of the university and all that kind of stuff. RTs
Yeah.
are not endorsements, that kind of thing.
So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you don't watch another one because that would be a terrible idea.
Thank you, Dominic, for coming. And that's all for our episode today. If you like this video, if you like this podcast and some words was said there, please subscribe to our channel.
Ding dong the bell.
Ding dong the bell. Make sure it's on. Comment if you ever faced the choice between freelance and full-time job, and give us what you're thinking about it. What would you choose, and what was your problems, or something else? Yeah, thank you.
You did actually reply to the comments last time, so they should comment.
Yeah, it was nice to see you. See you next episode next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Ding dong the bell.